Plates ready? This is Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Want to feel amazing? Love the way you look in the mirror and perform your absolute best in the gym, at work, and in life? You're definitely in the right place. Food. It's you. It builds every single cell of you. And if there is one thing every human being must master, it's food. Because at the very least, eating, you do it every day, several times a day, every single day. You might as well get good at it. I'm your host, Shurina from Create Yourself That Today, your personal nutritionist and plate watcher, your diet guide and explorer, your fat loss coach and food inspector. And just someone with a lot of passion and obsession and curiosity for healthy food, healthy diets, nutrition, optimized human performance, everything and absolutely anything you put in your grocery shopping cart, your fridge, on your plate, and in your mouth. It's my business. Food School, on a mission to help you eat better daily.
It's the last time I talk about food. It's the last time I talk about food.
Good morning, guys, and welcome back to Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Today, we have a guest on our show, Scott Stanfield, or as he likes to call himself, modern longevitarian. Today's episode is going to be about why Scott, not someone in a health or fitness industry, someone who's been involved in hospitality management over 25 years, why Scott decided to look into longevitarian lifestyle, basically a lifestyle that promotes longevity and great mental and physical performance for many years. Why Scott decided to do a lot of exploration and experimentation with kind of advanced diet lifestyles like keto diet or warrior diet or advanced intermittent fasting, but also why Scott decided to explore more advanced lifestyle tools like breathing and other tools. So this is amazing conversation where you're going to learn about weight loss with no calories counting. You're going to learn about intermittent fasting, how you can use this to improve your longevity, to improve your health, to beat your cancer odds. And also, if you have any excuses about being exposed to so much food variety in the modern world and not being able to stick with your better food choices because of all this variety and all of this food exposure and all the advertising, etc., etc., etc. Well, as I said, Scott has been involved in hospitality management for over 25 years now, and he spends a lot of time on a daily basis in a restaurant environment where cooks and preps make deliciously looking and smelling recipes all day long, and he still manages to do a lot of fasting and to stick with any diet or lifestyle he chooses to. So quit your excuses, tune in to this conversation, and as always, eat better daily. Thank you, Scott, for coming to Food School podcast as a guest, sharing your life experience and also your lifestyle, and to help more people to realize how much power, I guess, they have over their own health, over their own performance, and years of life, the amount of those years and the quality of those years. So tell our listeners a little bit of your story. Why are you calling yourself modern longevitarian, and what's your mission in the world? Anything you feel is important for the listener to know.
Okay. Well, why I'm on this mission that I've been on personally is because about 15 years ago, my dad got prostate cancer. He was only 55 years old. And at the time, I was about 30 years old, and I was 40 pounds overweight. And I was just eating the standard American Southern diet. I'm from South Carolina originally. And so that was a big eye opener for me. And also was looking around at a couple things, like my grandfather, my dad's dad, died of cancer at age 62. My uncle passed away of cancer. He was 60, prostate cancer, both of them prostate cancer, my dad and my uncle. And he was 60 in just a couple months. My dad's two best friends died of cancer, one prostate cancer and one colon cancer. A couple of years after my dad got cancer, my mom got uterine cancer and had to have a hysterectomy. And so I knew I was genetically predisposed for it, but the only thing I could control is what I eat, what I put on my body, the air I breathe. So I at that point became a vegetarian, or pescatarian mainly, and I migrated to almost vegan at that point. And I still was struggling with weight problems. I've lost 40 pounds twice.
Why twice?
Well, because I gained it back.
Yeah.
So the first time I really lost it was by doing P90X, and this is going back about 10 years ago. And then I gained it back, and then lost it again 6 years ago. And the second time I lost it through diet, not through beating it to death by just over exercising. P90X is about 9.5 hours a week. Not that that's a bad thing, but when you work the hours I work as a, director of food and beverage or a restaurant general manager, you don't always have an hour a day to work out, or more than an hour a day to work out. And so how I came up with modern longevitarian was, when you're a vegetarian and you're someone in my position, I was a director of food and beverage at a hospital when I came up with this term. And it basically was, people kept talking about my diet. And I was like, health is so much bigger than just what we eat. There's so many different pieces to it. And I was actually working out when I came up with the term, how would you better classify myself? And I was like, well, I'm a longevitarian. And gosh, this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, because I left that job 4.5 years ago. So, and I thought I was came up with this new word, and I Googled longevitarian in the middle of my workout, and it was in a book 100 years ago, and longevitarian.com had been taken by another entity, and basically it was talking about people who live to be over 100. Now, my definition of longevitarian is not that I want to live to be over 100. I mean, I think that would be nice, but I want to extend the years that I'm fully functional. I don't want to start degrading and get cancer at 55 or any of those things. I want to extend my fully functional years that I can go on really long hikes or fast and perform highly at work and in play, and be there, have just as much energy when I'm home with my family as I do as I'm at work. So that's really, really what I focus on, and how I structure that. My day by fasting a little bit every day. I don't eat breakfast. Never liked breakfast. I ate it because I was told I had to, and then now I don't eat breakfast. It's like either black coffee or occasional bulletproof coffee is what I have for breakfast.
Yeah, and so we, transitioning into your lifestyle, into your personal diet. So can you tell our listeners a little bit more about what you do daily exactly, and maybe a little bit about why you do exactly like those practices that you do regularly?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I intermittent fast every day. And the reason I do that is because you have to think about a world where everything that I would want to eat is at my disposal in a commercial kitchen. So if a restaurant serves cheesecake in the evening and they don't take it out of the freezer, they actually make it from scratch. Then what happens is there's a prep team, a team of prep cooks that are there in the morning actually baking cheesecake. So you walk in the morning, you walk in the kitchen in the morning and you're smelling bacon cooking to go on the salads. You got cheesecakes are cooking. You may have, because I work in a hotel, sometimes you may have an amenity that has chocolate covered strawberries. So there's chocolate that the chefs are making, or melting. There's chocolate chip cookies for something else. There's all this array of things that are cooking, and everything's at our fingertips that we can have to eat. So when I stumbled on the book, The Warrior Diet, 6 years ago, it was a completely different thing for me. I was losing my 40 pounds for the second time, and I lost 10 pounds by starting P90X again, but I was really struggling with it this time. And I was 40 years old, so I'm 46 now. I was 40, and so it was different than, being in my mid-30s.
Yeah, by the way, can I interrupt you a little bit? You don't look a day over 30.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Must be working.
That's the whole point, right? That's the whole point of this, right? Is to do that. Is to look younger and be younger and be able to maintain your youthfulness. But and you're not the first person to tell me that. I think in the last year I've gotten younger, last couple of years for that. But anyway, so intermittent fasting is big for me, and it was really a thing where I could draw a line or build a moat between me and food. I had to change my relationship with food. So the first week I started doing a 20 underfeeding and a 4-hour feeding window. I lost 7 pounds in the first 7 days. I did that. And I then...
did you restrict any calories? I mean, while you were eating?
Gosh, I was gorging myself. It was crazy. Yeah. I was, it was just, because, and this is before I was doing keto. So this was just like, and the Warrior Diet was, you could have black coffee in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, maybe some miso soup. Or in the first couple of weeks, you could have like some protein, 6 ounces of protein during the day to get you through to where you could fast. And I would have a banana, which a banana is 100 calories and 20 grams of carbs. So that's what I was having to kind of keep me going. And I was pretty active at that time because I was commuting to Salt Lake and I was taking the bus. So I was walking, 4 or 5 miles a day. Plus I had a stand-up desk was worth another 7 pounds of weight loss without changing anything. But when you start eating with the Warrior Diet, he says, the author says, start with raw, like salads or vegetables, then go cook meats and vegetables and only carbs if you need them. Or if you want them, but no calorie restriction. So no calorie restriction. I lost 7 pounds. And I think what happens, not what I think what happens, but what happens is that we go into ketosis a little bit every day with that, and so we're probably losing some water weight, that way.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's just making sure my phone's charging. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Yep. So I've been an avid, huge fan of intermittent fasting for the last 6 years, and I do that every day. First 3 years were not keto for that. And then, so what happened is about 3 years ago, I was listening to a lot of the Tim Ferriss Show podcasts, and there was one on the ketogenic diet. And I'm a diet geek. I mean, you can ask me about pretty much any diet, and I know it. I used to read. Because I've always been in search of what's going to, like, I feel great today. What did I do to make me feel great today? I'm going to recreate this over and over and over again. And so I can perform at my best. I'm a racer at heart. I grew up racing go-karts, and so I want to perform and as best as I can, and break records and go as fast as I can every day. But my point being is, like, I just kept researching all these things. So I looked at the paleo diet, Mediterranean diet. I took a half-day class on the Mediterranean diet, and then, like, obviously, all these different, South Beach diet. I've read about all these bulletproof diet. all of these things. I read about them and and really was trying to connect the pieces together. And so on the Tim Ferriss show was when he interviewed Dr. Dom DeAnestigo, which is now like the godfather of the keto diet, which actually to me, the godfather is Dr. Stephen Phinney, who wrote the Art and Science of Low Carb and really did a lot of stuff back 40 years ago and lived for 10 years in ketosis. But I love Dr. Stephen Phinney. Anyway, I was flying back from South Carolina. I downloaded this podcast. It's 3.5 hours long. That's how long my flight was. And I listened to this podcast about the ketogenic diet. And I had done the Atkins diet years ago in my 20s and really liked it a lot. And I was really thin then. I was, working out every day. I was still single, and I can change my diet because I don't have to change my buying habits for groceries. I can just change, at work, I can just decide today I'm going to have a steak or today I'm going to have a salad. And it's already kind of made for me, and I can have people just make it for me. I'm kind of spoiled. My wife hates it, but anyway, I had read about the ketogenic diet 3 years ago, or listened to the podcast and did some research on it. Watched the videos by Dr. Stephen Phinney, and then I did it for a couple of weeks. And